Hi, welcome to CMC Trade the Markets Like a Pro. This will be a series of educational videos where I will share with you basic technical analysis to intermediate and advanced methods on how you to use technical analysis to implement a robust trading strategy. So first, let's begin with Module 1, Introduction to Technical Analysis and Trend Identification. So before we start, let's take a look at the disclaimer slides first. Okay, so basically, what is technical analysis or an introduction to it? Firstly, price discounts everything. Second, price movements are not totally random, they move in trends. And since they move in trends, history tends to repeat itself. Why? Because human behavior never changes. And most important, technical analysis allow us to analyze what has happened and will it continue or change. And based on that, we will use key price levels on the price movement to define a trading setup in terms of reward and risk ratio. Okay, so basically, in a basic form, what is technical analysis is we got to look at the price action of any particular instrument, be it stock, FX, commodity, or stock indices. And how do we look at the price movement is by looking at the price chart. So basically, price chart can be defined in terms of three different types of charting. Firstly, a line chart. So a line chart is basically the closing price of any instrument, be it an hourly close, a daily close, or a weekly close. And if we start to go into more in depth, you will start to see a bar chart as well as a candlestick chart. So if you want to have more in-depth price action, we will just focus on bar and candlestick. So I will tend to focus more on the candlestick chart because it gives us a better visual approach when we look at the in-depth price action movement of any particular instrument. So what is a candlestick chart? So basically, candlestick chart, there are actually four key elements that I'd like to share with you all. Is will be the high and the low of any particular period in time, and we also able to see the closing price as well as the opening price. So what it means that if we start to see a green candle, it means that the closing level for any particular period is higher than the open. And for a bearish candle, which is typically depicted by a red candle, is where the close is lower than the open. So i.e., if we start to see a series of green candle, it actually telling us that current movement is more skewed towards the bullish side. And if we start to see a series of red candle, the current movement is skewed towards more on the bearish side. All right. Right now, there are three different types of trend at any one point in time when we analyze price action of any particular instrument: uptrend, downtrend, and sideways. So what is an uptrend? An uptrend is when we start to see a clear series of higher highs and higher low. Okay, so what is higher high? Higher high is depicted by 2, 4, and 6 as denoted by this simple line chart. Higher low depicted by 1, 3, and 5. Alright. Downtrend will be the reverse, a series of lower highs and lower low. So what is lower high? Depicted by 2 and 4. Lower lows 1 and 3. Alright, as you will see, the 3 is lower than 1. Then for sideways, definitely is there's no clear uptrend or downtrend. We call it consolidation, where we see a series of similar highs and similar lows. So later I will share with you all more examples of a sideways consolidation trend. Alright, so now let me take you to CMC trading platform over here. Okay, let me open up the chart. Okay, so this is the daily chart of Apple, as we could see. Okay, so in this chart of Apple itself, what we could see over here is if you were to look at the current price action based on the latest date, which is on 3rd of February, it has started to trade in a series of higher highs, higher high, higher high, higher high, and as well a series of higher lows. All right, so we could classify that Apple right now is trading in a uptrend configuration at this moment in time. All right, so now how about I open up the chart of euro dollar. Okay, so over the chart of euro dollar, okay, this is a hour chart. So before we go into a greater detail, most of you ask, hey, how come why I'm looking at the hour chart, not a daily chart? Okay, let me be pretty much precise. Is that in terms of trend identification, trend do happen in shorter time frame as well as longer time frame. So in various time frame, there are different kind of trend that is actually developing. So in my next series of educational module, I'll share with you all multi time frame analysis. So for now, if you look at the hourly chart of euro dollar, which is telling us the very short term trend, the short term trend is actually skewing towards on the downside. Why? If you were to look at the series of lower high, we could see over here, and the series of lower low. So euro dollar on the hourly chart is actually trading in a short term downtrend. Okay, now let's go back to our slides from here. Okay, on another way to actually measure trend is we could use moving averages to help us. Okay, so if we start to see a strong uptrend in any period, the moving averages, the 20 and the 50 period will be upward sloping, and the 20 period moving average will be above the 50 MA, and the price action must stay above the 50 moving average. In a strong downtrend, it will be downward sloping for both the 20 and the 50 period moving averages, plus the 20 will be below the 50 MA and price action below the 50 MA. Sideways, it will be flat. 20 and 50 period will be flat, and the price action will whipsaw around the 20 and 50 MAs. So let's go back to the two examples that I shared with you all. Okay, so let me go back to the chart of Apple. All right, so Apple, this is a daily chart. So on the daily chart itself, what it means that the medium term uptrend is remains intact on Apple. Why? Because it trades in a series of higher high and higher low. So let me pull up the moving averages. All right, so I open up my template. Okay, so what you see over here is that the one in orange or in kind of a reddish color will be 20 MA. The one in blue will be a 50 MA. So since it's a daily chart, this will be a 20-day moving average, the red color, and the blue color will be a 50-day moving average. So what we could see over here is that the 20 is above the 50, and the price action based on the current price action is still trading above the 50-day moving average. So what we could see over here is that Apple is actually trading in a medium term uptrend. All right, so now let's do a trend identification on the euro dollar. Okay, okay, let's open up the moving average. Okay, let me go to the short-term trend, which is the hourly chart. So you could see over here is that the moving average, the red one will be 20 period, means 20 hour. The 51 will be a 50 hour. So it's because it's an hourly chart. 20 below 50, and also the trend, the price action remains below the 50-day MA. So what we could see on the hourly chart, which is depicting the short-term trend on the euro dollar, is telling us that euro dollar is trading in a downtrend. All right, so now let's go on to another chart that I want to share with you all. Will be this chart. Okay, let me open up the chart of Venture Corporation, a Singapore stock. So if you look at Venture Corporation at this point in time over here, we could see the price action since August last year, all the way up to February, which is 4th of February right now, today's price action. It has been trading in a series of, yes, similar low. Right now, these low are getting higher, but if we could see the high is actually trading lower high. As you can see, this high is lower than this high. This current high here, swing high, is lower than this high. So what we could mean over here is that in this particular chart of venture is neither a uptrend or neither a downtrend. All right, so we classify this whole period in time over here in terms of the medium term trend since August last year. Is has actually been sideways or in a price action. It has been in a consolidation trend. So all in all, right, why trend identification is important as our first step in terms to actually introduce you to more advanced trading setup. Okay, let me go back to the chart. Is number one, trading along the trend is much more easier than to actually adopt a counter trend strategy. What does it mean? If we start to see a medium term uptrend, which is on the daily chart, definitely if you are doing a kind of a medium term trading strategy, it's better for us to have a bullish bias rather than a bearish bias to go against the trend. And if we start to see an uptrend, be it in a lower time frame or a higher time frame, our bias is to go long. If it is a downtrend, we will actually go short. And if it's sideways, we will try to trade at or near the boundary of the support and resistance level. So that's all I have for now in my introduction to trend identification or introduction to technical analysis. And I'll share with you all more about what is support and what is resistance in my next video. See you all next.